Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, Shemar Kakwadash. I want to say Shalom to Aknakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And I was scrolling on the YouTube homepage, as I tend to do, and I came across this video, and it's by this guy. I watch his videos sometimes. He comes up in shorts. I'm not subscribed to him or anything. He just shows up, right? I guess he's like, he's got 1.28 million subscribers, so I guess the algorithm's like pushing this guy, or however it is. Maybe I look at it, and then that's why they keep recommending it. But the guy's name is Morbid Facts. You know, he's this so-called white guy, whatever he happens to be. But he makes these videos, all right, with, as his name suggests, with these morbid facts, all right. And this one, I came across. Most of them are, they're not anything that you could really do a lesson on. I mean, they're just like random morbid facts. But this one stood out. This one was very interesting to me. So this one's titled "The Sniper Safari Where Tourists Paid to Kill Civilians." Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let it roll, and let him talk. But it's dealing with the Sarajevo safari, all right, which I basically just found out about today. I didn't, know about this specific occurrence. Now I've been aware of human hunting, right? There's lots of different stories. Matter of fact, there was a guy, old job I used to work at. He told me, he said, I can't remember exactly the whole story. He was an older white guy. He was a cool guy. He was an Edomite for sure, but he liked, good music. We talked about Frank Zappa and old, rock and experimental music and all this, heavy metal. And he told me that, I can't remember exactly where he went, but he was in one country, all right? And they were drunk. All right, and they decided, they met this guy there, all right, at the bar or whatever, and he said, hey, you want to, go shooting, all right, at the country over. It's like, I guess, in the Middle East, so, they're close. And we can get on a plane and be over there. And they said, yeah, fuck it, why not? So they got on there over there, and they go to the shooting range, and they have a ton of guns, right? The guys just, they're having fun. And, the guys, that were there was, of course, this Middle Eastern man, and then, the so-called white guy that I knew, and then the white guy that was with him, his friend or whatever, all right? So it was two white guys, all right? The guy I knew, and then this other guy that I didn't know, two white guys, and then the Middle Eastern guy. And the Middle Eastern guy, while they're shooting, says, hey, do you guys want to shoot a real person? And they're like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, if you pay extra, we can actually bring out a real person, and you can kill him. And they're like, no, what the fuck? No. And like, I think the guy, I don't remember what he did, if he laughed it off, whatever. And then, they just kind of, he said it fucked up the whole vibe. He's like, no, we don't want to fucking do that. We just want to shoot guns, dude. But there are, all right, the upper level ones, do want to do those things, right? So, yeah, there's that concept. And then they make movies about it. When they make so many movies about a specific occurrence, it just goes to show you that that's really happening. Actually, my favorite video game ever has an occurrence of human hunting in it. There's this, so the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, all right, there's a part in it where, if you're playing the game, if you don't want any spoilers, it's a side quest. It's not part of the main quest, but there's this mission. I'll be vague with what happens. I'll be vague with the start, because I don't want to tell you how it starts, because then if you play it, it'll ruin it. It's a great game. But you go and find this guy, and it turns out he's been taken to this island, all right, where these people pay to hunt, all right, a whole group of people. And you end up there trying to rescue him, so you end up having to survive this hunt as well. Of course, it's a medieval game, so they have bows and swords and magic and stuff. But you work your way the outside part first, then you work yourself down into like this dungeon area, and then out, and you have to kill everybody and survive, right? They take everything from you, right? Weapons and everything, but I think you can find like a dagger or something. I can't remember, but yeah, man. So it's in that. There was a bunch of different movies. There was that movie, I can't remember the name of it. Movie with human hunting. It was like she was a bride. The Hunt. The Most Dangerous Game. Surviving Game. Never even seen that. The Hunt. And there was another one. Let's see. There's a movie. Ready or Not. Ready or Not. Okay, so there's all these different movies about human hunting. And when they do something like that and they keep on putting it in your face over and 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 over again, what do you think they got the concepts for that? Because that shit's really happening. It's the same thing with Squid Games, right? You think that was just, oh, let's just make this. Nah, man. And they have the Eyes Wide Shut style, man. That movie too, Eyes Wide Shut. You don't think that shit's really happening? That is really happening, based on the Rockefellers, right? Their Eyes Wide Shut party. There's actual photos of the Rockefellers in these weird animal-shaped masks, right? And they had that in that. They had it in Eyes Wide Shut. They had it in Squid Games, and I'm sure they have it in other things, right? So they, that's one of the things they like to do. Now I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not. I heard it's some type of, I don't know if it's a Masonic thing, but apparently it's in the small hat religion. All right, that there's some type of karmic force like karma, and if you tell someone what you're gonna do before you do it, then that karma doesn't get you. Right? Allegedly, that's what I've heard people spreading around. All right. But yeah, man, so we're going to go ahead and play this again, the Sniper Safari where tourists paid to kill civilians. So here you go.
That was the sound of gunshots echoing through the streets during the siege of Sarajevo in the Bosnian War. During the siege, civilians lived under constant sniper fire from soldiers positioned in the surrounding mountains. Between 1992 and 1995, more than 10,000 people were killed in the city, including at least 1,500 children. Decades later, investigators finally uncovered extremely disturbing evidence suggesting some of those sniper positions were used for what became known as the Sarajevo Sniper Safari. According to testimony in ongoing criminal investigations, wealthy foreign visitors allegedly paid tens of thousands of dollars to Bosnian Serb forces for the opportunity to fire at innocent civilians trapped inside the besieged city. Witnesses claim the visitors were escorted to hillside sniper nests overlooking Sarajevo, where they could shoot at people crossing streets or running between buildings. Some reports even described a price list for targets, with higher payments allegedly associated with killing children.
So if you wanted to kill kids, you had to spend more money.
Italian prosecutors opened a war crimes investigation in 2025, and the first suspect has been formally placed under investigation for multiple counts of murder related to the alleged sniper tourism.
There you go. Now,
criminal investigation. Wealthy foreign visitors allegedly paid tens of thousands of dollars to Bosnian Serb forces for the opportunity to fire at innocent civilians trapped inside the besieged city.
So, wealthy foreign visitors. Now, who do you think the wealthy foreign visitors happen to be? You think they're just, some random person? No, man, these are Edomites. 100% these are Edomites, man. And that's the type of shit that they do. Okay, it's Edomite shit. All right, that's what they do. They like to kill. All right. So let's read a little bit more on the actual Sarajevo Safari. It says, it is the name for an alleged, there you go, alleged, right? Well, how is it alleged, all right, if the first person's already being prosecuted? See, the Esau likes to cover their tracks. They operate by, what was it? Plausible deniability, okay? Well, allegedly that happened, right? Allegedly, it didn't really happen. They like plausible deniability. All right, that's their modus operandi, right? One of them. It says an alleged war tourism. It says phenomenon during the siege of Sarajevo. Says that, mind you, it says that Sarajevo was a prolonged military. The siege of Sarajevo was a prolonged military blockade of Sarajevo, the capital of the Republic of Bosnia. All right. So it says after it was initially besieged by Serbian forces. They're saying that people were paying Serbian forces, to do this, but sure. It says involving human hunting. We'll go and look a little bit more into that. It says, according to the reports, wealthy foreign men were enabled for large monetary fees to shoot at civilians in the besieged city with sniper rifles for entertainment purposes. Sniper tourists have been characterized as perhaps the most feared element of life under siege in Sarajevo. Claims about this phenomenon came into international public attention in 2022 with the premiere of the Slovenian documentary Sarajevo Safari. Well, I might have to check that out. Directed by Miran Zupanik and co-produced by Al Jazeera Balkans, which is, of course, is a news station. It says the alleged activity took place from established positions of the Army of Republika Subscript. I don't even know how you'd pronounce that. In the hills surrounding Sarajevo. It says, in response to the film's allegations, official legal actions were launched. The prosecutor's office of Bosnia and Herzegovina opened a case in November 2022. In November 2025, the public prosecutor's office in Milan also opened up an investigation into alleged participation of Italian citizens in these acts. Officials from Republika and War Veterans Associations sharply denied all allegations, calling them propaganda, heinous lies directed at the VRS and the Serb people. Sure. Reports in the 1990s. Rumors about the phenomenon had existed as early as the 1990s. The Italian newspaper, I could even try to pronounce that, reported on the possibility of Italian extremists traveling to Bosnia to spend weekends as snipers. The phenomenon was also mentioned by the book Bastards of Sarajevo by the Italian author Luca Leone. It says the 1992 documentary Serbian Epics by Paul Wachowski featured Russian nationalist Edard Limonov, hosted by, so-and-so, on the hills above Sarajevo, and so it says it featured, the 1992 documentary Serbian Epics featured Russian nationalist Edard Limonov on the hills above Sarajevo and firing a machine gun with a telescopic sight at the besieged town. So they actually have pictures of it, pictures of it, so, or videos, too. The 2007 ICTY. Now they're trying to say it's just the Italians, but you have the Italians that are Jakes, and then you have the Italians that are Edomites. But on top of that, it's not just the Italians, man. Another thing is there's a lot of people that were not born in Italy that live in Italy. A lot of rich people that live over in that area as well. White Edomites. That just happen to live over there. Same with Paris. Same with that whole different area in Europe. But also people, definitely people were traveling abroad. Let's see. As a matter of fact, I'm curious. Let me see something. I want to see if anything was in the X-Files. No. Alright, but I wanted to see if there was. Mind you, I don't think they're releasing anything post-2004. Right? Not yet, at least. They said, I think they said they weren't going to release any more at all. But it says, 2007 ICTY testimony. The film's allegations subsequently gained weight with the discovery of earlier independent testimony before the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. It says, John Jordan, a former U.S. Marine and firefighter, testified in The Hague in 2007 during the trial of General Dragomir, commander of the VRS's Sarajevo Romanija Corps. Jordan stated under oath that on several occasions he had seen individuals he described as tourist snipers. He noted that they did not appear to be locals based on their clothing, weaponry, and the way they were being escorted by local officers. So there you go. It says, when asked directly where he's seen these individuals, Jordan replied, why I was visiting the Serb firefighters in Grbavica. The location matches the testimony from Zupanik's film. So there you go. And then, of course, the documentaries and whatnot. What else do we have? Organized rivals came from Belgrade. All right, so that's where people would pour it in from. Then they were transported to transported by the Yugoslav People's Army. All right. Then into VRS positions, all right, where they were, so you could pay to shoot these people as they were doing. The primary location cited for the shootings is the Sarajevo neighborhood of Grbavica, which is under VRS control and had a direct view of the city. There you go. Check it out. All Edomite nations, mind you. Witnesses mentioned that the tourists came from various countries, including the United States, Canada, Russia, and Italy. All big Edomite provinces, right? So, there you go. It says the most controversial allegation for the film was that there was a price list with a witness stating that tariffs were higher if a child was hit. So, there you go. There you go. So, this is just, this is Esau's doing. This is what Esau likes. Esau likes to hunt and kill humans because he's a murderer, man. He's the devil. You can't be surprised when the devil does devilish shit, right? And there's a whole list of human hunting, right? This is a whole historical example. Netherlands and Germany, gypsy hunts or heathen hunts. Bear with me just a moment. 1 minute. All right, sorry for that. Freaking solicitors on the doorstep. Anyway, so where were we? Oh yeah, right here. So Netherlands and Germany. Well. 18th century gypsy hunts or heathen hunts known as Heidenjagden were a practice involved hunting and persecution of the Romani people. Right? The Mexican government, particularly the states of Sonora and Chihuahua, introduced a bounty system in 1836, offering rewards for an Apache scalp. All right, they're beefing with each other. A lot of. So again, you got to realize that it's the Mexican government first of all, and then on top of that, over in Mexico, it's pretty half and half. You have the people that were originally there, all right, who were the Aztecs, all right, which are Iskarites, the real Iskarites, and then you had the people that came over, all right, that were Spain, and they got with the women. And you had those people. So, Mexico over there is really half and half. You do have the Iskarites, but you also got a lot of Edomites, all right, that happen to look like Iskarites, okay? It's the same thing, with the deep south. All right, you see a lot of the weird so-called black folk over there. Well, there was a lot of the plantations, the plantation owners getting down with our women, all right? So, when that happens everywhere with the Esau getting down with our women, because when we're in captivity and slavery like that, all right, or under oppressive rule, they can do that. So there's a lot of tares. There's a lot of black folk out there that ain't really even so-called black folk. They're just Edomites, all right, stuck up in that chocolate body, okay? And the same thing with Iskar over there. You have the Iskarites, and then you have the other Mexicans that are they're not. And then, and then it's hard to tell with Iskar because Iskar fucking hates themselves, all right, and they love the white man. They love the white man over there, all right, but that's a topic of another day. They love Jesus Christos, Blanco Jesus Christos, all right. They love white Jesus, all right. They love that. They're stuck in the Roman Catholic Church. You can't tell them otherwise. They're big into Santa Maria, and they're big into all the weird worship and Saint Death, and the candles and the burning of the candles and doing all bunch of crazy shit, man. All right, they're and again, half of those are bugged out real Iskarites, and the other half are just Edomites. Okay. So again, Apache, that's that they would be Gadites. All right, Gadites. One of them, all the tribes are a little bit different, but yeah, I believe the Apache. No, it was the Comanche that were the most hated, I believe. It says during the Selknam genocide. Where's Selknam? These are Argentina, so Chile. Chile, so Jake. It says, use employees to hunt down, livestock companies use employees and third parties, hunt down Selknam to make way for ranches, right? The Spanish Civil War, the killing practice became popular. Let's see, among the sons of wealthy landowners, the Edomites, right? Spain, Edomites. Hunts took place on horseback, targeted landless peasants, and as an extension of the White Terror. So you see, mass violence against dissidents that were committed by the nationalist faction during the Spanish Civil War. There you go. They were jokingly referred to as Reforma Agraria, referencing mass grave the victims would be dumped into. Between 1971 and 1983, serial killer Robert Hansen flew many of his victims to the Alaskan wilderness, then released them so he could hunt the women with a rifle and a knife. Read a little bit on that. And then, of course, Siege of Sarajevo. Yeah, man, there's a whole bunch of different stuff. So yeah, man, whole bunch of different stuff. Let's read a little bit about this Edomite here, Robert Hansen. Okay, it says that Robert Hansen was an American serial killer active in Anchorage, Alaska between 1972 and 1983, abducting, you see it, and murdering at least 17 women. Many of his victims were released by Hansen in the wilderness and hunted with a Ruger Mini 14 and hunting knives. Hansen was captured in 1983 and sentenced to 461 years of imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Good Lord. It says he died in 2014 of natural causes at 75. While serving a prison sentence for arson in the 1960s, Hansen was diagnosed with manic depression and periodic schizophrenic episodes. The psychiatrist who made the diagnosis noted that Hansen had infantile personality and that he was obsessed with getting people back who he felt had wronged him. Very interesting. Okay, murders and capture. Hansen, arson, makes no difference. So Hansen is believed to have begun killing in 1972. His modus operandi is believed to have been to stalk women, to learn their habits, eventually picking her up in a car and forcing her at gunpoint into his home, where he would have his way, then stab or shoot her. Some women Hansen murdered were sex workers. Many were teenagers. Let's see. Damn. Oops. Right here. So here's one specifically. Sue Luna, age 23. Was this on victims? Yeah. It says voluntarily agreed to a $300 photo shoot offer with a nightclub patron. On May 26, 1982, she met Hansen in a diner parking lot in Anchorage. The following day, Luna was reported missing. Hansen had abducted and killed her, then buried her near the Nick River, where she was discovered on April 22nd, 1984. According to Hansen, he had her flee into the forest while hunting her like an animal while she was stripped naked. Luna had been killed via gunshot. Here you go. Yep. Very interesting. That's Esau for you. That's Esau. Let's get some scriptures here. Alright, I should have got one earlier, but let's get one here and read it. So Hebrews 12 and 16 in the King James Version. First, it says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. So in the Common English Bible, it says, make sure that no one becomes sexually immoral or ungodly. That's what profane means. It means godless, right? It says, like Esau, he sold his inheritance as the oldest son for one meal. Okay? And this also shows you, also being profane and godless, is that he's a liar. All right, because Esau likes to say that Jacob stole the birthright. Okay, if you go and look up Jacob birthright, or Esau and birthright, Esau Jacob birthright, I'll prove it. A lot of the time it talks about it being stolen. It was never stolen. Oops, I accidentally just typed stolen birthright. See right here, sells his birthright. Let's see. You gotta look for the questions. Here, there's one. Jacob and his mother clearly conspire to steal his birthright blessing. Well, he doesn't have his birthright. Right? He took advantage of Esau's hunger, right? That's what they try to do. Well, again, it also shows you, I always like to get right before any of that even goes down, when they were in the womb, all right, the Lord spoke, all right, unto Rebekah and told her how it was going to go. It says right here, Genesis 25 and 23, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So this is before they were even born. The elder shall serve the younger, right? And then let's go back here, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, Genesis 25 and 25, which makes him the older brother. And then going back to 23, and the elder shall serve the younger. So that's all through the birthright, because the Lord already knew it was going to happen, all right? Because the Lord had everything happen the way he wanted it to happen, all right? That's the way it went, okay? If the Lord wanted Esau to have his blessing, he would have his blessing. Jacob wouldn't have been able to do shit. All right, Rebecca wouldn't have been able to do shit. If that's the way he wanted it to be, then it would have been that way. But he did not want Esau to have the blessing. Over and over and over again in the Bible, all right, the Lord talks smack on Esau, to calling him, you know, profane, calling him ungodly, the wicked, making him low amongst the heathen, calling him the border of wickedness. I mean, saying that he loved Jacob but hated Esau. I mean, come on, man. You know, over and 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 over again, right? So it was already established, man. You see Jacob took advantage of Esau. He picked a time when he knew Esau was hungry and had no food. You can tell Edomites when they write something, right? Because they get all upset, all right? Because again, you know, they wish they had that birthright, but they sold it. You didn't have to sell it. Okay, you didn't have to sell it. Right here. Jacob stole Esau's rights. Why was Jacob such a jerk to Esau? You know, of course, when you look it up. But yeah, they talk about it being stolen quite a lot. Why did God choose Jacob and not Esau? Wasn't he... None of these are fucking motorcycles. That's a fucking Vespa. Come on, man.
Information in your
Interesting. All right. Cool. Well. Oh well, I guess. That's interesting. Do I have a VPN on? No? Interesting. Anyway, wanted to read that, but guess the Reddit does not want us to. But yeah, so going back to it, you know, they always try to lie and say that, oh, they stole the blessing, they stole it. No, it was sold, it wasn't stolen. All right, if I go into Walmart and I buy a bag of rice, all right, and I trade money for that, all right, an item, all right, or if I go to a farmer's market and they have rice and I say, hey, I have jelly or jam, and I trade them that for that, and they give me that, I did not steal from them. All right, there was a transaction was made. You stole my jelly. No, I gave that to you so I could get something from you. All right, that's a transaction. That's not stealing. But Esau, as a liar, as he always is, we can go and get that. Forgers of, here it is. Job, I had to get the brain started up. Job 13:4 says, but ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. So it shows you that they are forgers of lies, which means they manufacture and produce lies. And on top of that, they can't heal you for shit. All right, they're physicians of no value. And a physician is a medical practitioner, and they're not very good at it. So again, this is just Esau as a core, how he is as a human being, right? Proverbs 4:16 says, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. And again, in the original sense of the word, mischief was not just, oh, you know, playful little fun. If you look at mischief now, playful, annoying behavior. Okay, intentional, non-violent damage to property. That's what mischief means, right? But it doesn't mean that. All right, mischief is actually wickedness. All right, in the Common English Bible, it shows you this. It says they don't sleep unless they do evil. So Esau can literally not even rest their head unless they've done evil. It's like the opposite for Jake. You do something bad and it keeps you up at night. If they don't do something bad, it keeps them up at night. They got to go and kill someone, you know, go and strip someone naked and hunt them or fillet them alive or scalp them, and then they can get sleep, right? They don't sleep unless they do evil. They are robbed of sleep unless they make someone stumble. Okay, so again, if you know, cause someone to, you know, be destroyed or have a, you know, stumble, have a horrible situation, or cause them to, you know, whatever, right? Whatever they happen to do, okay? And that's what they like to do because they're not a godly person, all right? Like it said, no, lest anyone be as profane as Esau. No, you know, don't let anybody be, no one, all right, become as profane as him. And it's actually impossible to become as profane as Esau, all right? Because they are the like, to become as detestable and vile as Esau, you'd have to be an Edomite to have the thoughts that they're thinking, right? The things that they think up, the things that they come up with are on a different level of wickedness that even as Jake, all right, we do wickedness, all right, our people do wickedness, but it's even when it's extreme, all right, it still is not the way that Esau would have it done, right? Esau would somehow find a way to make it more wicked than that. So, this is Psalms 52:7. It says, lo, this is the man that made not Yahweh his strength. So he didn't trust in the Lord, all right? But trusted in abundance of his riches and strengthened himself in his wickedness. So, Common English Bible says, look at them, they did not make Yahweh their refuge. Instead, they trusted in their own great wealth. They sought refuge in it to do to their own destruction, right? But it's better in the King James Version because it shows you point blank, all right, Esau does not trust Yahweh, all right? He's not Yahweh is not Esau's strength. Esau's strength is his wickedness and his riches, all right? And his riches used to do wickedness. And that's what he does. In the abundance of his riches and strengthen himself in his wickedness. So that's what he does, all right? And the money is a tool for that, right? And that's why you should never, ever, ever trust an Edomite, man. They'll say, oh, no, we're not. No, not all white people are like that. You're right, not all white people are. This ain't about color, all right? But all Edomites are, Okay, you can have brown Edomites, you can have yellow Edomites, you can have white Edomites, just the same way you can have brown Israelites, you can have white Israelites, you can have yellow Israelites. All right, it ain't about skin color, it's about ethnicity. And now ethnicity is tied to skin color, but that's not 100% accurate. All right, you could have people that are ethnically Italian, but they might look Chinese. You can have people that are ethnically Russian, but they look like a so-called black man. All right, so you can't go off of appearance. All right, a matter of fact, John 7:24, it tells you straightly, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Okay, judge righteous judgment, not according to the appearance. I'm a so-called white-looking guy. I would be considered as a white man. All right, that's what's on the birth certificate. That's what goes on the job application. That's what's on my ID. White. Okay, white. Now, what do I actually go back to? Southern Kingdom through the line of Scottish and Irish ancestry, right? The original Scottish and Irish, they were Moors, all right, as they were called, all right, which just meant black. Okay, now Esau tries to conflate that and fuck that all up too, and they say, oh, the Moors were actually Muslim individuals. No, you had some that were, but in general, what a Moor was, it just meant black, all right, or they were called Moors or black Moors. Okay, so they try to do all these different things, and it's just they try to do all these different things to really hide history, covering casts. Anyway, but yeah, man, so you can't trust these devils, all right? You can't trust them. It's not about not trusting a white man or a yellow man or brown. It's about not trusting an Edomite. You'll know them by who they are, all right? You can weigh their spirit to see if they're of the Most High. Try them by their spirits. Now, it's dealing with false prophets, but you can also try other people of their spirits. If they're moving weirdly, and here it is, if you have this black guy, hey, how are you doing there, buddy? These black people are just, what do you think of BLM? What do you think of BLM? Don't you think there's just far too many black people on welfare? What the fuck is, nah, man? Then you have to weigh two things. Is this guy a coon or is he a tear? And then that can be hard, man. That can be hard. But there's, after a while, you'll get it, like the Hodge twins. Those guys are not coons. Those guys are tears. All right. Candace Owens, I'm pretty sure, is a tear. All right. Could she be like a super coon? Maybe, because she has some of the mannerisms of a black woman. But mostly, I believe her to be a tear. Now, there's another girl, anti-abortion, TikTok. Black girl. There's this lady. All right, I believe her to actually potentially be a Jake. This lady. What's her name? Anyway, Anyway. This lady. Alright. I'll have it moved out of the way just a little bit. But yeah, this lady. I can't remember her name. But, if I scroll, I might be able to. No, can't. But that's her. That's the lady. Here's another one of her. Alright. I believe her to actually be a Jake. Alright. But she is a coon. So, yeah, man. So, Ecclesiasticus 12:10 shows you, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Does rust get better? No, it does not. Rust just continues to get worse and worse and worse because it's rust. And once you get a little bit of rust, man, you gotta get that out of there immediately. All right, cut that out and get some Bondo, because if you don't, it's your ass. It's your ass, man. That's going to get worse and worse and worse when you leave it there. It's going to eventually rush through the whole damn car. All right, so you can't do that. But yes, and then let's get the Good News Translation version of that. It says, never trust an enemy. His wickedness is as destructive as rust. All right, so he'll get you destroyed, man, hanging around him. All right, that's why it also says, set him not beside thee, lest he overtake you. Roughly paraphrasing, because they're cunning and wickedness. All right. Now this is dealing with Israelites, okay, but those people over in that area were not. Some of them could have been, some of them might not have been, all right, but mostly this is dealing with Israelites, but we're mostly getting it for verse 6, all right, but I'll read 5 because they kill most of our people, all right, mostly Jake, that's who they like to kill the most, but they kill anybody, they're murderers, right? So Ezekiel 35 and 5, down through 6, verse 5 says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, so that thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Common English Bible, it's already pretty plain, but this makes it even slightly more plain. It says, because you nursed an ancient grudge, you handed the Israelites over to the sword in the time of their distress during their final punishment. So now the Lord Yahweh proclaims, as surely as I live, I will prepare you for blood, and blood will pursue you, because you don't hate bloodshed. Bloodshed will pursue you. So, you're going to be killed. All right. It's like he who leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Who is killed with the sword shall be killed by the sword. That's what's gonna happen to Esau, man. That's what's gonna happen to him. All right, and yeah, man, we're getting hot. We're getting hot up in here. All right, I actually had a dream last night or this morning. I don't know what you'd want to consider it. Probably this morning. When I woke up, I had it, and it was interesting. All right, it was like. Me and my wife were, I think we were in a vehicle. Have to have a dream. You got to piece it back together. We were in a car, our car. All right, we were driving, and we were on like a highway, and there was this big mountain region right next to it. There was a mountain going up. Like, I don't know if you've ever been it's kind of like let me see if I can find it. It's like it was like this, right? Where there's like a mountain going right up. It was like carved in. All right, Nevada to Utah. Kind of looked like this. All right, you have these sides, right? That's kind of what it looked like, and it looked eerily similar, to be honest. And that's where we're in Vegas, and this is a road we've been through. But we were driving through here, and all of a sudden, we saw these jets just fly by, right? And they started blowing the shit out of shit. All right, I guess on the side. Now there was the mountain, but it wasn't all like this. The other side, I think there was there might have been a city or something. I couldn't quite tell. But I know they were taking out cars, and it was much longer than just a singular road. It was like like one of those longer roads. Kind of looked more like this, but maybe like four wide, like four lanes wide. And they started hitting, these Iranian jets. I don't even know if they have jets, but Iran fighter jets. Do they have them? I imagine they do. F4 Phantoms. Yeah, they looked like this, except it was gray. It was more gray. But yeah, they looked like this color, right? Like this. They were that gray, but of course that's a U.S. aircraft. But they were more gray, right? And it was flying by. I think it was gray. Again, could have been this color too. Couldn't quite tell. But they were just dropping missiles, not nukes, but missiles. Hellfire missiles. If you ever seen a Hellfire missile, right? Again, I know they're used on Apaches, but I don't know if they look like Hellfire missiles. What they look like. That's what they look like, right? With explosion, look like that. Of course, there was a. It was like a barrage. Let's see. Anyway, I can't find, can't really find any, but there was a whole bunch, right? So we started hiking up this mountain. All these missiles were hitting around us. I remember we just prayed, Yahweh Shemel Shai. We ended up finding this little cave, going in there. And, that was about, there was some other random stuff. There was like this Russian guy that was in the cave. He was dead, but I guess he was like a spy. He was up in there, and there was like some other people going to like retrieve it. It was, you know, you have a little bit of those weird spots where it gets weird, but it, you know, and I haven't had one of those dreams in a while. Could be something, could be nothing, but yeah, man, it just shows you that it's getting hot out here. It's getting hot out here. And I woke up and I was like, hey, call all Yahweh Shemel Shai. I haven't had one of those dreams in a while. So, yeah, man, we're getting hot. So, Esau, your time is getting near, man. You're gonna have to pay up. All right, you're gonna have to pay up, and it's not gonna be something you're gonna want to do. All right, we're not gonna do anything to you, but the Lord and His angels sure are. All right, and the 144,000. All right, which, you know, some of us are going to be of, but we don't know exactly. But yeah, and it's gonna be bad for you, man. But most of your ass whooping is gonna take place in the kingdom. All right, with 1,000 years of captivity. Fuck him. So get ready for that, man. Get ready for that. So that's what we're going to close out with. All right. Lord and what was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Till next one, Lord willing. Shalom.